There you go.
All right, with it being after 7 o'clock, we'll call the September 28th meeting to order, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Alan. Oh, my minute guy isn't here, but hopefully you saw him. Approval of minutes for July 27th?
They have my edits, so I don't know if anyone was able to review them.
I did not, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Negative here.
So we'll table it.
okay,
Next meeting.
that's fine.
All right, first one is 2/4/2/1851, 26 Lawn Pasture. Request to continue to October 12th.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 2/4/2/1852, 7 Fuller Farm Road.
So the wetland consultant may be a little late coming to the meeting, so if we could table and, yeah,
Okay,
he's probably on his way, but,
all right. So we're gonna table that one. So next one is 2/4/2/1854, 100 Wally Tavern Road.
okay. Alrighty, so at the last meeting, the commission, ordered that the, dumped yard waste be removed by the time this meeting happened, and they did that, in short order. I reviewed the area in the field, and it looks much better. They got down to the original ground. The other thing discussed was the location of the new dry well off the deck that's going to turn into a porch, and its location within the 25-foot no disturb zone. Commission asked that a more in-depth analysis, alternatives analysis, be provided for that, as the closer it gets to the foundation, the more risk there is for flooding of the basement, or compromise of the foundation. So we have received that, expounded alternatives analysis, and there was really no other changes to the plan that was requested, so. And
Thank you.
Ben Osgood's here if you have any questions.
Joe?
No question.
Tony?
No question.
I'm still reading the alternatives analysis if you want to.
All right, I'll go to Ryan.
No questions.
I have no questions.
There's a waiver is required.
A waiver request to install, I mean,
Well, if we were to vote for the alternative as proposed by the applicant, which I assume is alternative 1, which alternative does the applicant want to go with?
no.
No, you want to go with 4.
Alternative
Oh, he
4.
wants to go with 4, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And that would require a waiver as well, right, Ben? Okay. So which alternative does not require a waiver?
The only one would be if you were to pipe all the way around the house and, put it out front. But that's a lot of disturbance, you'd have to take out the foundation plantings. We're talking about where we're proposing it, it's 22.5 feet from the edge of the wetlands.
And the rear of the house is lower than the front of the house, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's the way it wants to naturally flow.
Right, that's the natural flow, so we'd be kind of bucking the slope, we'd be coming up slope, it would be deeper in the ground. Possible, but really not desirable.
And I think at the last meeting, I made the suggestion of getting as far away from the house so you're not short-circuiting the permanent drain in the foundation.
Right.
So,
That's right.
I mean, I recognize the one of the things we're trying to promote is groundwater recharge in many instances. This is a great opportunity to put it where it wants to be, and unfortunately, it gets a little close to the wetland, but it's still up in lawn area.
Right.
So
In the lawn.
I
It's in the lawn.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I think it's a reasonable alternative, from my perspective. And if there were other feasible things that, and you looked at 4 options, and I don't see anyone beyond that would be any better, so I think the waiver's reasonable for me. I'm all set.
So then, if you went with alternative 4, it's 22.5 feet from the wetland. Is that coming out, is that going to daylight? Is that a level spreader going to daylight, or how is that, or is that?
No, it's it's actually a 2-foot diameter dry well with 6 inches of stone around it.
Yeah.
I think it's about 2 feet deep.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of shallow. It wouldn't be daylight, but they have an overflow on the gutter.
So, I mean,
So if it filled up, it would
it's
just-
likely the dry well will overflow during a good storm event.
Right.
So when it overflows, it's just gonna set.
It's just gonna come out the gutters and go onto the lawn.
Gotcha. Okay, now I'll sit.
Frank, you said you didn't have any questions?
I'm all set as well.
All right, so we need a waiver.
So the commission should vote on whether they
So
grant the
we're on
waiver
number
based
4,
on.
right?
So I move that we grant a waiver having received a satisfactory alternatives analysis.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm gonna just abstain because I walked into the middle of the hearing.
Yeah, you just want to say no.
Not true.
All right, so we're all set
Very
with the,
reasonable. Very reasonable.
so we're all set with the
Waiver.
waiver.
Is there any abutters?
Oh, are there any abutters here? I'm sorry,
Nope.
there are not.
Nope.
So we need a,
Vote to close the hearing
vote
and
for?
issue.
This is an NOI. I move that we close and issue in 21 days or less.
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And 1 abstention.
No, I'll vote to close.
You're gonna close
Yeah,
that?
I just missed the, I was at the
Oh,
early
okay.
parts of the hearing.
Okay, so it is unanimous, Jamie. All right, all set.
Thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
I will go back to, because I saw Greg here. 4/2/1852, 7 Fuller Meadow Road.
I believe I have to abstain from this one.
Yes, you do.
I'm gonna butter.
Yep.
All right, so at the last meeting, Commission discussed the fact that the new deck and stairs are within the 50-foot no-build zone, recognizing that the porch and house was constructed prior to the Commission's local regulations were in place. The new deck, conforms to code now, whereas the stairs that were on the opposite side were not conforming. Discussion revolved around enhanced mitigation to recapture lawn and naturalize it. Commission asked for the applicant to go and reconsider that. We have a revised plan that shows a larger enhancement area within the 25-foot no-disturb zone, and that results in a 10-to-1 mitigation ratio. And I think that was really all that came out of last meeting's discussion, unless Greg wants to add anything to that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Joe?
Amy. I think Amy,
Joe, any questions?
I don't. What I had asked for at the last meeting is in fact what we received tonight, so I'm satisfied with that. And I just remember that, what we had before was a deck that didn't have a code compliant egress from it. This now does, so it really it's making an improvement to an existing deck comply with code, and we got back to the buffer zone that the enhanced buffer zone that we want. So I'm fine. I'd support the waiver.
Tony?
Yeah, at 10-to-1 mitigation, I think that's a reasonable.
Sean?
My position is the same, that if this was, came in front of us in a non-after-the-fact situation, I don't see this as something that I would vote for, so I will probably not vote for the waiver personally.
Brian?
Although I don't disagree with you, I'm okay with this. I have no questions.
All right, so we need a motion. We need a motion for a waiver, right?
To approve the waiver.
So we did not receive an alternatives analysis other than it was after the fact, so it was already there. So I vote that we grant the waiver on the premise that we received a 10-to-1 buffer zone enhancement restoration.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. And now we have to approve the NOI.
I don't know if there's any abutters.
Oh, I'm sorry, any abutters here? I'm not used to having abutters here.
Just me.
Just you.
It appears I'm the only abutter, and I have no objection.
All right. So, entertain a motion?
I move that we close initiative decision within 21 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank
Good
you.
night.
Hey, great job.
I know you want to earn your money, but,
Sometimes less is more.
there you go.
Less is more, attaboy.
Less is more.
Attaboy.
I tell all my clients, paid by the hour, not by the word.
There you go. All right, next one. We did well, so next one is candlestick, 242-1853, 40 candlestick.
All right, so at the last meeting, the commission will recall reviewing after-the-fact work and then newly proposed work, and asking the applicant to provide a color-coded plan that shows what's after the fact that requires review, and what the new work is that hasn't really been undertaken yet. So we have that up on the screen. We have here, we can pass it around. Look at it. So, the green is buffer zone enhancement or restoration. The yellow are structures or impervious areas to be removed. The orange represents paver stairs to be reinstalled in previous locations. There we go. I'm reading upside down. And then the blue is new work, which consists of a shed, pavers, planters, and stone stairs. And so the only work within the 25 is restoration.
And a teeny bit, we're literally removing like 2 blocks of that little,
Right.
little retaining planter wall on the
At the
right-hand side of the
far
house.
corner of the house.
And the commission also questioned the shed that we're removing one shed entirely and relocating another one outside of the 50. And under the building code, if the shed's under 64 square feet, it just has to maintain a 5-foot side setback, which it does, and the shed is 8 by 7. And we're greater than 5 feet from the property boundary.
Thank you. Joe?
No question, this was helpful.
And so just a reminder that when the house was built, the commission reduced the 50-foot no-build zone down. So that's why we're seeing what we're seeing.
Tom?
That was in the 80s.
I have no questions. I think
80s
this is-
Yeah.
or something.
No questions.
My only question is in the future, if they decide to do anything.
I think they're well aware that they need to be, they have to go before you guys for pretty much anything.
Because they used every inch that they had.
Every inch.
Thank you. Sean?
Julie, any waivers for this, or is it waiver-free?
So some of the patios, I know, like retaining walls, kind of those are kind of
Within the
allowed, kind
25
of
and 50.
requesting with that.
Yep.
So, I mean, I did do a whole waiver
Yep,
kind of
in that regard.
analysis and kind of requested just for those impervious areas, so I do have a full thing, so.
Okay.
Necessarily not structures, but more of landscape features, patios and stuff like that.
Okay, thanks.
No questions.
All right, so we have the vote on the waiver, or we don't have to?
There's no way, I don't see a waiver here. Am I missing it?
Well, Sean brought it up, that's why I'm
Restoration
asking.
work, right?
Pardon me?
It's restoration work.
Restoration, I think, I mean, an enhancement work. I don't see a
Right.
waiver. I don't see anything that needs a waiver unless I'm missing something.
It's,
The
yeah,
retaining wall is not high enough to be a structure.
they're not right.
So it's a landscape
They're-
feature,
they're
it's outside the
decorative.
25.
Right.
It's not, no waiver required in,
Okay,
other than the restoration in 25.
Right.
This started out as an enforcement order, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
So,
Restoration within the
disingenuous to not
disturbed
grant a
area.
waiver to do the restoration work.
But-
Restoration within the disturbed area that you're restoring is not waiver
Well, it's
necessary.
it's actually
that's in
not
order.
really disturbed. It's more like areas in the 25 that are just not well vegetated. It's not like they did activity in the 25. It's just,
Yeah, I don't think we need a waiver,
No,
so,
I think
Yeah,
so.
that'd be a really easy alternative analysis.
okay, I won't.
One alternative.
All right.
I'll move that we close and issue in 21 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Next one is RDA, Andover Street.
Alrighty, okay, so the trustees are coming before you with an RDA for filling a foundation or an old cellar hole on their property that is across the street from 113 Andover Street, and it's on the same side as their Chestnut Street parking lot. It's about 30 by 30 area, and it's basically a tripping and falling hazard. It's sort of in the middle of the landscape. It does harbor a bunch of invasive species, bittersweet, multiflora rose, shrub honeysuckle. They are proposing to fill the hole with a layer of gravel, riprap, loam, and seed the top. And based on our in the field measurements, the work is approximately 30 feet from the bordering vegetated wetland at its closest point. And access will be from the parking lot that's shown on the plan. And just as a note, there's a non-native cherry tree that may be impacted by the work, but it's an invasive species, so we're not gonna worry too much about that.
Thank you.
And representatives from the trustees are with us this evening.
Joe?
Very important question. What are they filming?
Invitation to a bonfire.
Oh,
Please come to the mic.
it's a big production.
Invitation to a bonfire. Yes, it's a TV show
All right.
by AMC. Yes.
No
Very-
questions on the file.
Very busy week this week.
Can you just give us your names for the record?
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sorry.
I'm Lindsay Davies, a steward with the trustees.
And Jeremy Nick, the stewardship manager.
Almost there.
Tony?
Yeah, I have no questions. This seems pretty easy.
No?
Any plans to remove that sweet cherry out of there that's gonna be impacted by the work, or just take it down, or you think it's okay?
We're gonna leave it.
See what happens?
Habitat. So.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. I'll sit.
I'm just gonna ask a silly question. Historical Society, they have any issues with it?
It's some grade, not a structure. So.
Okay, because I know how they can be. Sean?
No questions.
Ryan?
No questions.
Motion?
So I recommend closing the hearing and issuing a -3 with conditions that require pre-construction meeting to inspect erosion controls. All invasive plant materials shall be disposed of properly, and any fill imported to the site will be inspected for the Asiatic jumping worm, invasive worm, and then a post-construction meeting with the commission to verify compliance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
On discussion, we are not making any determination, even though it was asked and answered regarding historic, that we're strictly acting on that. And if there's any
Yeah.
other issue, they can deal with the
That's
historic
right.
site on their own.
I don't, yeah, there's no abutters here. Oh, we do have an abutter.
I have no issue.
Okay.
Oh,
You sure?
okay. So we're all set?
Yep.
So it's- Yep.
Thank you.
It's closed. Amy will give you whatever paperwork you need
Okay,
if you need any.
Great,
thank you.
thanks for coming
Thank you.
in. Thank you.
Okay, enforcement order.
We just dealt with the first one, didn't we?
Yeah, the 40 candlestick,
That's settled.
that settles.
Yeah, so let's,
close that.
close that. I'm sorry, lift that enforcement order because the enforcement order required a notice of intent.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Next one is, in the future, Amy, would you, make notations when we have an enforcement order for, with an NOI, so let's wait, because we really shouldn't vote on a NOI
Before,
with outstanding orders.
yeah,
So if you make
Yeah.
so we'll hear them first and get them out
Yeah.
of the way. Okay,
yep,
all right.
thanks.
Next one is 450 Marble Ridge Road.
All right, unfortunately, the applicant couldn't make it this evening, and his consultant had 3 other conflict meetings, so, but they did present a planting plan. Oh, let me get the plan up. So they've provided a little more detail. They're proposing 10 high bush blueberry within the 25-foot no disturb zone at the base of the driveway shoulder, basically. We are fine with the proposal. We suggest that perhaps at least one different species be mixed in there, maybe a sweet pepper bush plant, and then we recommend that the enforcement order be amended to incorporate that, and that the plants be obtained from a responsible source that sells natives. Invoice for the plants and seed mix be submitted to the Conservation Department prior to installation. Also, soil amendments and plants be inspected for that invasive worm. Execute the planting plan no later than May 30th of 2023. Require annual monitoring and reporting for 2 full growing seasons by the wetland consultant, and then achieve 75% overall survivorship. So if you have any questions. So we have a narrative and a plan, so that's what the commission was looking for.
So there's no fines involved in this thing anyways, right?
No.
So can we approve this, or do we have to continue it?
No, well, I'd
Since
recommend,
Since there's no, amend the enforcement order to reflect these.
right,
And that document's gonna have to survive, because it in fact becomes the permit,
Right.
right.
right? And then once they complete that final step.
We can lift the
we can then
enforcement
lift
order.
it.
Did you?
So moved.
Could I,
No,
just discussion real quick, Katie. There's been a lot of talk about the worms.
Yeah,
Is there a protocol that we can establish as a requirement to test for these things? Because it appears that that's becoming an issue, and it's the first I ever heard of this,
well,
the jumping worms.
well, they're, they stay towards the surface. They don't go deep, so you can dig around, and once you agitate them, they jump around like crazy.
But the testing, to find if they're there, you have to physically move the soil and dig.
Yeah, I mean, you would take the plant out of the pot, and
Yeah.
you would take it, crumble out the soil, and they'd be hiding
What's
in
our
there.
expectation? That if they're present, they do something?
They
Or simply
deplete,
confirm that they're not there? What are we trying to
simply
get?
confirm that they're not there, and if they're there, terminate them.
Right.
Because what they do is deplete the upper level
Nutrients?
nutrients, right.
So, I mean, is it necessary, do you think it's necessary to add a requirement to test for and report the presence of, in addition to termination? I mean, or is that not necessary?
Yeah, I mean, we're saying visually inspect the soil, any imported soil and the plants for these worms, terminate them and let us know.
You're talking about for like every order of conditions?
That's like a boilerplate.
Oh, you mean a
That's what I'm
boilerplate?
hearing.
I'm saying,
Yeah, I think that's-
I'm saying, if it's an invasive situation.
It is.
Then perhaps we should be a little proactive and add a little more language to something to check for them,
Yeah.
have applicants as part of their due diligence. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, more than what I've got here?
Yeah, right now we have, if worms are encountered, the landscaper slash applicant shall terminate them and inform the conservation department.
Is that verbiage in the order?
That's what I'm suggesting for a condition of the enforcement
All right,
order.
I mean, if everybody thinks that's enough, I'm all set with it.
I have no problem with this one, I wanted to better understand, should this be boilerplate? I think it should be.
I think it should be.
Moving forward, yeah.
I think so too, even in orders of, orders of conditions. Anytime you're gonna,
We just add an invasive species, invasive animals.
And then we can add or subtract anything in the
Yep.
future.
okay. Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Boilerplate, because it
Better.
is a problem throughout the state.
Okay, one more question. Do we have any?
Oh, yeah,
We do have them.
we have them. In regular, I mean, Taylor and I have found them, looking at other wetland lines on other properties, and you look for their castings on the top, and they're there. We found them,
So
in natural settings.
they're like all the other invasives, they're much more difficult to get rid of.
Well, they're taking hold.
Yeah,
They take hold, I mean,
How far do they jump?
well,
it's not the jumping that we're worried
No,
about.
I know, but I'm just curious.
well, that's the
Why do they
telltale
call it a jumping
behavior
one?
that you'll
Jump a
know.
foot and a
I
half?
mean, they just go
About
nuts.
5'6", Lou, you're
Ta-
okay.
Taylor
Just flip it and
explained-
flop it around.
They flip and
Right over the
flop
edge.
like crazy,
Sure,
like,
they could jump over
Right over
my
the edge.
head.
like our regular earthworms don't do that. They just kind of,
Slither.
but these guys really are pronounced in their behavior.
Yeah, you gotta catch them with a glove.
It's like a cobra.
Okay, so we have a motion.
To amend the enforcement order as recommended?
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. All right. Next one, 49 Court Street.
Alrighty.
We do. Amy's well prepared.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time again. I'm here with Jim Fioranti and Leah Petrosina of 49 Court Street to hopefully, first and foremost, to give you an update on the stability of the 25 and the 50, the measures they've undertaken since the last meeting. You've had a couple reports from me, some photos last evening, and Taylor, I assume, and I know Taylor's been out there, and I assume Amy's been out there. They've done a really bang-up job on fortifying that soil with erosion control matting, generous broadcast of conservation wildlife seed mix, repointing their siltation bar or the sediment log. So hopefully to that end, before we go any further, we can get some sort of consensus on lifting that enforcement order, cleaning up the slate, and then obviously here to obtain some, or to solicit some feedback on the conceptual sketch that Jim and Leah have put together for what they'd like to do moving forward. Obviously, it involves the retaining wall that's been under discussion, patio in the front, and a small shed to the rear, as well as the pervious pavers in the rear, that small paver patio in the rear. Jim's also told me that he will implement grading such that the water will overlay and flow or shed towards the other side of the abutting property owners, so that they won't have to even deal with what might be coming off of their rear yard. And again, we could put that in plan format when we get some feedback from you and we speak to Millennium Engineering going forward. Also a privacy fence to alleviate any visual, potentially visual inconsistencies from the abutting property owner as well.
Thank you. Joe?
Thanks for the color-coded plan, it does help, but still a little difficult for me to read, but you guys worked hard trying to do it, right?
I told him he's got a new career.
I want to see some direction from you guys first.
Yeah,
before we move it on.
I appreciate that. I do remember there was one abutter who was concerned about movement of water, but he was also concerned about the stability of the slope. Is that the side where the retaining wall is being proposed?
Yes.
Is that the same guy?
Yeah.
retaining wall would be in the back.
So that's the driveway side, was it that the guy?
driveway side would be the fence.
Okay.
We're not opposed to doing a little bit of retaining wall in that area. This is what we're, seeking as feedback, that if the slope needs to be stabilized. The slope has been there for 50 years.
So that line, far end of your property, is that a fence or is that a retaining wall and fence?
That would be a fence.
Just a fence, so the
Yes,
retaining wall's and
that's-
fence is
Oh,
the
I
other
thought that
side.
was-
That
Retaining
hill where that fence is was not ever touched, and that hill has been there for as long as the property's been there. The fence would be strictly privacy. Is that right?
I was interpreting that to be a wall.
Oh, me
It
too,
gets
sorry.
The stripes.
I
Okay.
thought that was a wall too.
We didn't have that many colors.
So, yeah,
The abutter's concern was
So that's-
stability of that slope
that's the fence.
in the movement of
Oh, that's
water,
a
so if
fence.
there's not a
Yes,
wall
that-
there,
that's a fence
does
up
his,
top.
does
Up
this
top
concern
of
go
the fence?
away,
Wall
or
here,
is it
fence there.
still valid?
Privacy
What?
fence.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we got
Too
too much
many
stuff
people
going on
talking.
here.
Sorry.
We're just getting oriented.
Orientation.
Yep.
We gotta get it right.
So,
So my
John-
original question was, at the last time we heard this, there was a gentleman here who was in a butter.
I
Yes,
think the
they're
abo-
here.
Are you guys?
They're in
the
this-
abutters?
They're here.
Oh, you are here,
Do
all
you
right.
wanna,
Yeah, why don't we open it up to the butters?
Well, not yet, not yet,
She's
not
just
yet.
asking for a copy of the plan.
well, if you guys just wanna sit in the front, and then when it comes time to ask questions or something, we can,
So I was trying to remember your concern, and you remember it better than me. My recollection was that there was some concern, not that was based on anything other than, making sure they weren't having any impact to their property, of both the slope and the fill and the movement of water over on that side. So my first read, by thinking that that was a wall, that was going to help alleviate that concern.
I think the grading that Jim has indicated he can undertake would alleviate any sort of shedding of water in that direction.
Do with grading alone and no wall.
Well, there's
Is that what
no
I'm
wall
hearing?
there, that's just a fence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, do it with just grading and no wall.
Yes.
Yeah, up on that property,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so then am I to see that the wall is
The
that
rear.
C-shaped,
Correct.
arc-shaped piece? So it's really just to stabilize the to take out the material on the lower side, but then to flatten out the upper side to be able to use it as a play yard,
Exactly,
a yard.
exactly.
Um,
That is the wall.
And that's about 4 feet high?
4 feet.
4 feet, okay.
But that would probably require a footing, and that would probably require a building permit.
But I think what I'm hearing is they're using us as a sounding board
Yeah.
before they invest in doing
Oh,
those
right,
things.
I get it.
If
Yeah.
if they invest in these things and we say we don't want that, it's a
No, I
waste of
know,
their money.
but we just gotta make sure we're clear on what
So-
that entails.
If it's 4 feet though, if they did like a dry stone wall or any other sort of gravity wall, there wouldn't be a footing, so would that get them out of building permit?
4 feet under, you don't have to
I
have.
think that it's the height.
2x2x6 blocks like you see, like in major.
Like the
landscaping.
Ready Rock or?
Radar rock, exactly, radar rock.
All right, so that would be a gravity wall, that's a 6-inch stone trench
Trench,
below it,
Yeah.
not a full,
Footing.
yeah, footing.
So that doesn't require building.
it wouldn't trigger a waiver.
okay.
At last meeting, we.
So that being said, it gives a physical barrier to the resource area. It also gets the material that's been moved down that we want out of there, it gives them the opportunity to get that out of there. So I would support the wall. It's the physical barrier we would typically want to see.
Yeah, if there's a fence on top of the wall, I
Yeah,
think
so I would support that by far. What I don't have is enough information as far as the grading and whatnot, but I think if what's preventing you from moving forward to do a real design, so we can then have a real filing before us, I'd say, I don't see anything here that I would say you can't do. And the wall, I think, was the stickler in my mind, is one, I didn't want to impact the neighbor, if that either introduced water his way or didn't provide the stabilization on their side, but I'm hearing that that's not the concern, that we're probably going to get a design that justifies your grading, that's gonna prevent that. I'm all set with that question, but I certainly will listen to the abutter when it comes back around.
Tony?
So the wall location is no closer than the existing edge of disturbance to the wetland, correct?
The wall location's in the exact location as the previous chain link fence that was there. So basically replacing the chain link fence with a 4-foot retaining wall with the 4-foot aluminum fence above that for fall protection.
Yeah, and the only other thing I would look at, and, you know, I looked briefly at the grading, it seems to flatten out where the end of the flow, the path of the flow of water is. Maybe some sort of like, just a small depression for small storms, so like a rain garden or something. Just to grab and infiltrate whatever you can, but I think
That
that's.
certainly can be done.
There's a nice naturally existing gully there, which is pretty convenient, so I'm sure that some
Yeah,
sort
just a
of-
little 6-inch
some sort
berm,
of
just to
swale
catch
berm.
it, let it settle down before it goes, and whatever you can infiltrate in small storms.
Sorry? They're not.
So my question would be the ready rock wall that you talked about, which wouldn't be a structure. Would that support, I heard him say he wants to put a fence on top of that. Would that support a fence?
Yes, you
Well,
can core in
In front of it.
to the
Core in, yes,
wall.
you can core in or offset it towards, into the field, so to speak, and plant it into the,
That and,
wherever the ready rock wall isn't, you know what I mean, just behind
So
it.
that activity, my understanding is that activity would not trigger a building permit?
no, that's, yeah, there's other ones too.
My
like,
understanding is 4 feet or lower is okay.
I
We
just
have,
want to be sure, because if I tell you I'm in favor of it, I'm in favor of that specific description. If you come back with a plan that shows you have to go down and put a footing in that triggers a building permit, which
Right.
triggers a waiver,
Right.
then we may be on a different,
Yeah, even the small landscape walls, I think 4 feet, you're below needing well, even if you needed reinforcement, any of the multi-segmented blocks don't have a full, true footing.
Right, no, they're on a 3/4 inch stone pad that's
Yeah, 6
about
inches,
6
8
inches
inches, yeah.
deep, yeah.
I think we should get clarification from the building department, because he still has, there's a threshold, I'm not sure exactly where it is, where he still has to issue a building permit for a structure, but he doesn't require structural engineering in order to build it.
I think it's 4 feet, so I would-
Is that exactly the line?
that's the state building code, is 4
Alright.
feet, so I would figure a way to make it 3 foot 11 inches, give yourself a little.
So,
I think we can do that.
does it include the footing, that?
No, it's the exposed wall, is 4 feet.
Right.
But yeah, any of the segmented blocks should work. And again, if you do the small blocks, you can put the wall on the inside, and then the big blocks, you just have to drill and post.
We'd like to do the big blocks, just easier, faster installation.
so as described, I have no objection at all.
The next plan you bring, please supply us with elevations.
Yes, absolutely. It'll be the existing conditions plan you have, updated with proposed grades, proposed structures, the shed. Light discussion I had with Jim is there might be a zoning setback required for that shed. We're not sure. We can relocate that to make it
There is
true with the zoning ordinance.
30,
Yeah.
probably 30 feet.
The reason why I ask is because when they first did the filling, they were 4 foot above the fence. When they first filled it in. That was to make the yard level. So now they're cutting back to 4 feet. So it's not, the yard's not gonna be level anymore.
So originally, you guys think it was over 4 feet, but we leveled it right to the top of the 4-foot fence, so it was always 4 feet. So basically replaced the fence, the chain link fence, put the 4-foot wall, and then a 4-foot fence above it. So now the grade in the backyard will be like from a 3-to-1 to almost, not flat level, but, a little bit of a pitch. But enough for kids to play, whatever,
No, I
trampoline
understand.
or soccer ball.
The abutter is on where the fence is? Is
Yes,
that where
to
the
the
abutter
north.
is? Have you showed the abutter the plan, at all?
No. Well, we talked about it, no, not showing the plan, but we spoke about it verbally prior to this conservation meeting.
Because like I said, I don't know them from Adam, but an unhappy neighbor is not a good thing to have. So.
We just
make
want to
sure-
improve the property.
Make sure, and I just have one, a flighting ointment. When you come off your house, there's a deck area, is it flat?
In the front yard, you mean, in the backyard?
The backyard? You come
It's
off- when you come off the
flatter
house,
now.
It's flat, and then it drops off,
Yes.
okay?
Is that a walkout?
No, it was never, it was a walk, it's a
a
walkout. It was
walkout.
never flat, though. It was,
Yeah, so
now,
your house was-
now it's flat.
The house is a retaining wall in the front,
Exactly.
Yes.
right, it's a walkout at the back.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yep.
I'm trying to give you as much as you can. My suggestion was, on the high side, is cut it down a foot. Like a step down from the backyard, so then that way you gain an extra foot of pitch on the other end.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? So in other words,
I know what you're saying. You want a double plateau situation to
Just
get
one-
rid of a,
Just one plateau, just, you're at the house, his
The
house.
back of the house.
Just do one step down. So you're gonna gain a foot on the other end.
You mean coming out of the house?
Come
Yeah,
out of the house,
yeah.
go down a foot. Right?
Will that,
Well, one step.
would that marry
8
well
inches,
with the
6
patio?
Yeah, I think it's 8 to 10
Whatever
for-
step,
for-
one
yeah.
step, two
Yeah,
step.
whatever
8
the
inches,
step.
yeah.
The more down you go, if you go 2 step, now, that picks the low end up that much higher.
that's certainly something we can explore.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a good
But
point.
you're gonna come back with grading.
But I don't think the gain is going to, all we did essentially was we want to put the retaining wall in the exact same location as the chain link fence that was there for 30 years, where the lawn was being maintained. We just want to, instead of having like a pitch, we want to just be level with a 4-foot wall.
Yeah, so
Not encroaching any further than it already was, just keep it in line with the existing chain link fence.
Like I said, you do want, but what I'm saying, you could do a 1 step, 1 foot cut, and you could slope that.
Yep.
So you don't have to put a wall up near the
I think by
house.
doing that, what you really do is give yourself that margin of error.
Yeah.
That keeps you out
Yeah,
of the building.
Yeah, I
Out
know.
of getting a building
We can
permit.
certainly explore that. That's
Very
kind of why we
nervous.
want the
That
sounding
that
board.
ensures you're not gonna
And now
be
you,
a building.
that makes
Definitely.
your yard a foot more level.
Yep.
It gives us more
When you're-
leniency on the other
Yeah,
So
side.
if your plan
Wouldn't
goes
take
in
much-
is
wouldn't take
3
much
foot
work
8
off.
instead of 3 foot 11, you now have that much more
Right.
that
Right.
You know,
you're safe
like I
for.
said, he
Yeah.
can, he's an engineer, he can tweak, you could tweak that, so the lower you go up by the house,
Yeah,
the higher you go up the more you gain on the other end.
Right.
We just wanted to make it more egress accessible, not egress accessible, if somebody had a wheelchair or, handicap accessible, just not that one step, it was more like in case the parents,
Well,
right,
I'm
so-
just throwing it out.
yeah,
there.
I know what you're saying,
Yeah,
though.
I mean, that's the other thing too, is that you just do minimum building code at the back door. You can always put like granite curb or something around that patio and drop your 8 inches there, so you can pick up.
yeah,
Step there too, step down.
that's
off the
true
patio.
too.
That's
Yeah,
I
just,
like that one even better.
you have options, I understand that,
I
you
like that
know,
one better.
I understand,
I
trying
think
to,
that one achieves the same thing that you're saying, just do the step down at the end of the patio, not at the door,
Yeah.
at the house.
Right,
so,
At the
yeah,
patio.
now I understand what you're trying to do by extending the driveway.
at the end of the patio,
Yes.
just so you have what you have, and then,
Step down. I like
Right,
it.
and you gain footage.
yeah.
And it lowers the slope toward them also.
Right.
Everything, you're dropping everything
Right.
down, so that's more
Doesn't really
gain.
affect them, but yeah, that's okay.
I'm sure this gentleman could
But yeah,
figure
just
that out.
put some spot grades on the plan when it comes in. and-
Yeah, you definitely, when you come back the next time, want grades.
Yeah.
Whatever you design,
Absolutely.
Because
Again,
I want to see the grades.
trying to solicit some
Um,
feedback.
Yeah, and I'd feel more comfortable if you give yourself much more play with the retaining wall. Because I don't feel confident that it wouldn't trigger building permit. I just,
Let's talk about the shed. It's that brown box we're looking at, correct?
Yeah, down to
Okay,
the,
the nose is
Yeah.
black, but the
Yeah.
brown box.
yeah.
The dash line that's running through, it, is that the 50 no
that's a
build?
50.
So the idea, of course,
That,
it's
yeah,
120 square feet, so it is a structure.
yes,
That shed will have to just come up a little bit further.
right,
Yeah, that was just thrown on there, just.
Yeah.
To
in-
keep it
in
out of the
spirit,
50.
I wanted a
Has to
shed.
be out of
to
the
keep it
building.
out of the
Yeah,
50.
keep it out.
Right. But it also has to meet zoning setbacks.
Yeah, accessory structure is like 5 or 10.
So-
Well, if it's, I think it's 64 square
64
feet or
square feet,
less,
this is
it's 5
120.
feet. If it's more, then it's the full
The full setback.
the full setback. which I think is
Okay.
30. I'm not sure about the zoning
So
district.
The only
but-
question I have is that's why I'm asking for the elevations, because I would definitely be interested in the elevations toward the neighbor.
So if everything's pitching away from the neighbor, you're happy with that?
Yeah, that's
That's
what
the
you're
idea,
showing.
that's what we just
Ideally,
discussed.
Well,
yeah,
without,
but I
without
don't know how you're
impacting
gonna
the
do
other
that.
neighbor on the other
You
side.
gotta be higher than your neighbor.
I want to make sure,
Yeah, but if you stop the pitch.
I want to make sure their expectation and our expectation meet.
Yeah,
So this is for discussion purposes.
Yes.
This is a homeowner's
depiction.
rudimentary sketch of how they would like it to look. If we give them the proper guidance, our expectations, we're going to see a engineered plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh,
so those
yeah.
types of things that we're asking for, it's nothing out of the ordinary, it's what we're gonna, that's what we wanna see in a plan that comes to us.
Yeah, we're expecting a notice of intent, fine,
Yeah,
right?
so,
Yes.
yeah, it goes without saying, all the topography
Yeah.
and drainage and all those things are gonna, better be shown in that plan.
And we'll make sure the shed's out of the 50 and it's in full conformance with the zoning ordinance.
Apologies for the rudimentary drawing, it was more, I thought we were.
Yeah, no,
our
feedback.
spirit was
This
to
is
try to
good.
get out of the, violation and stabilize, that's sort of where we were, and then give you a depiction of what we wanted.
That's what I thought, I just wanna make sure you understood that
Yeah.
we're still looking for a
Right.
better plan.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
This is the concept, and
Not,
the
not
next
that we
one.
don't like your artistry.
I don't, we
I didn't say that,
we wouldn't send this to the state.
I just wanna make sure we knew what we were looking at.
All right, Sean?
Has there been a measurement to see if that wall is within the 25 foot? Any part of it?
Well, the way it's drawn, yeah, but the engineered plan will
We'll depict that.
make sure it's not.
I mean, is it way off, or is it?
It's
do
in,
we think it
it's
is? Do we
within
think
the
it is?
25. That I find to be an issue.
So,
A wall within the 25 foot, I think, is just not acceptable.
I don't think there's, you're not proposing it.
No,
This is just sort of.
We're not-
Probably
okay.
3 feet
Oh,
inside.
okay, I'm sorry.
it's 3D, it's not really
When
3D,
When they,
it's kind of,
when they bring us the engineered
Yeah,
plan,
yeah, I'm sorry.
You're gonna bring us
so
a
none
nice
of this has
20
been constructed yet.
no.
No.
Okay,
no,
yeah, sure, get it out, get it out of the 25, never mind.
Yeah,
But the other thing we're gonna want is, because we're gonna need an alternatives analysis as to why you want it in the 25. Because I do
even
think
if we don't
Or
need a
in the
waiver?
50, you mean?
Yeah, even within the 50, sorry. Because it says driveways, roadways, retaining walls, and landscape boulder walls may be allowed within the 50-foot no-build zone when no other feasible location or alternative means of access exists. So if you can demonstrate that for us, then.
But it's no closer than the previous limit of disturbance
Exactly.
they have.
Right, which was a fence, a chain link
Right.
fence of a sort. Now there's land going on.
which counts as previously disturbed.
Well,
And then that
Well,
alternative.
it's quite an improvement on
It is a
previous
big-
disturbance.
I would-
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
physical
agree.
barrier,
I would
too.
look at the flow path and slope from the house
Yep.
to the wetlands
Yep.
versus if it's taking that circuitous route around, nice, flat, gentle slope, that might be. So-
All right, you all set, right, Sean?
Yeah, other than that,
I think everything's been pretty well discussed, so I got nothing else.
You beat it up pretty good. Okay, so we need to continue.
So,
Do we have to?
Well,
So
I,
is the
They wanna
I,
lift
I
the
don't think
enforcement so
so.
they can file a notice.
Let's keep the enforcement order in place. They, cease and desist, continue to cease and desist and file the notice of intent whenever.
All right, so
So
they can
you-
file the notice with the enforcement order in place then?
Yes,
Okay.
I think we need
Do we
to,
have to revisit
Yeah.
the windows of time that we've given them? I think we pushed them up pretty far, I thought.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be exercise over the winter, is what you were thinking?
I mean, if we can get it done, we obviously want to avoid winter conditions,
Yeah.
obviously, and then obviously the spring rains and the spring, rainy season, that's a problem when you're working with slopes and water.
so it's all,
So it might be all the way up until like late spring.
I would say you probably still got, hopefully, 2 months.
So what's
We're
that?
generous, but
If
I
we-
just wanna say, if we
if we-
gave
if we-
it until next
They're gonna-
spring, we don't wanna do that.
They have to fill out, they gotta do a 20 scale plan. And
Yeah, I got- yeah,
and
this-
that's a lot of work.
I would prefer that you didn't put a requirement like you did for the notice of intent
yeah,
last
no,
week when I
don't
had to
wanna
call you
do-
and say,
no,
we're not quite
I
ready.
don't wanna do
Yeah.
that either.
Okay.
Just file it when you're
But
ready,
the intention's
you can't
there,
work
as you
until
can see.
get an order of conditions, that's
Right.
all.
We just want to lift it.
But at the same time, you want to keep the EO open until such time as the notices?
Well, I
have
think
to.
we need,
We have to.
we need a cease and
there's still
desist to
action, yeah.
stay in place.
We would get rid of the enforcement order when the notice of intent
Okay.
is in front of us. It will not before.
Right, all right.
So what is the date for them to have a plan?
Whenever they want.
Yeah.
They're not doing any work until they get an order of conditions, so it doesn't
We gave them a
matter.
deadline further out, but if they want to get aggressive and file
Yeah.
the next meeting, do
Site,
it.
the site's
We
stable right
didn't,
now, right?
yeah, we
Site-
only,
Site
the only,
stable,
the deadline was to get a plan before us, not a notice of intent.
Okay.
Yeah,
We anticipate that a notice of intent will be filed, but we wanted to see their plan first and give feedback. And then they can continue, they need to continue to cease and desist all work and file their notice of intent on their own timing, and then start work when they have an order of conditions.
Well, there's two things, as long as the site's stable, and as
Yes.
long as the abutters are not being adversely impacted by
Right.
any existing
Right.
condition right now,
Right.
which we have to find out, we haven't heard from them yet.
So I'd allow them to, if they decide that they're not gonna file the order, or the notice, if they wanna seed with like a contractor's mix to get through the winter, like a winter rye or something, just to keep.
On top,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think that should be an allowed activity.
I wouldn't object to that either.
Just because if, I think that we should allow, they should be able to file the NOI ahead of time, because I'd like to see the plan.
What do you
A
mean?
plan.
Oh, yeah, no, I think they should file it as quickly as they
Yeah.
can, but if you
know,
can't
got-
find
you got
someone
3
to get
years-
it.
You got 3 years to do it.
Yeah.
It's just, I think they should file it the earliest.
Well, I'm not into giving people deadlines to file an NOI.
No, but,
Let them do it whenever they
Yeah.
do it. It's their backyard.
Don't put a
right,
time
It's
on it.
their-
but if they decide that
Stable.
they're gonna
Site
take a
stable.
while and they wanna throw some seed
Yeah,
down,
yes,
I think that should be allowed.
okay,
Yeah.
The stability of the site
right,
and make sure there's no
Right.
impact heading to the neighbors.
so we have, okay, so we could potentially amend the enforcement order to allow that, and then, get rid of, like, the plan deadline, and we'd want the wetland consultant to continue
To monitor.
to monitor,
for storm events?
yeah.
Would
And
that be
then-
until it's stable though? Like once it's vegetated and permanently stabilized, would the inspection
Yeah.
procedure would continue? So-
Yeah,
If we get to the point, if we get frost still, just, as a consultant, we used to break it down to, well, it's only after storm events, correct? Only after .5?
right,
Okay.
yes,
Right.
it's not a
Okay, so it
week.
doesn't matter.
Well, no, except if you've got some kind of sheet flow going on that's transmitting material,
Right.
frost or no frost, that's an issue.
Yeah.
So
After
stability is key.
Yeah, and we're on the track, we're on the
Yeah,
right
and
track,
that's-
it's really well stabilized.
And then if they got
Rapid germination.
If they got a stable, they can bring the NOI in whenever it's ready.
Yeah. That's why we're trying to give you two options. One is file the NOI tomorrow if you
Yeah,
can.
maybe we'll try to be more
But
aggressive
if
then.
it can't be done, because people are busy, throw some seed down and let it vegetate, and then if it's stable, then
Yeah,
So
I'm
seed-
not-
okay with that.
I'm
seed
not
beyond
saying
the
you
con-
have to start your work immediately on the NOI. I'm just saying get the NOI applied so we can look at the plan. And then they got 3 years to do it, as long as the site is stable.
I just have one other concern, is that we took out the fence that was there, and we have a dog. We'd like to put something up during this cease and desist or whatever to contain the dog. I mean, I have the ability to pound poles in and put like a
Snow
like a
fence.
vinyl
Yeah,
chain link
I see
fence
what
in, and
snow
there's
fence
less
is.
disturbance that way, and, you know what I mean, so we don't have to dig holes, but is this something that we can do during the,
how's your dog? Would snow fence work, like the
like
construction?
the orange?
Yeah. the
Yeah,
orange
yeah, he's
construction.
good, he's good, just needs,
Yeah,
to be
so
contained.
I think that's reasonable.
Absolutely.
So
And it's
any-
probably
Okay.
cheaper than the,
Yeah, right, we don't wanna really
Yeah,
spend
take
any
it down.
money on
Yeah,
anything
plus,
more than a snow fence.
yeah.
yeah, we do,
Sorry.
I didn't forget them. They, but make sure when you do the fence, you stay out of the 25.
Yes.
Yeah,
In the wall.
The one, we're not doing any walls yet.
yet.
We're not there yet. Would you like to speak, or you covered it all, or?
John Weaver, thank you for including us. We have no questions or issues now. We're just waiting for the final plan. That's all, like everybody else.
We had a pretty heavy rain week and a half ago.
Yeah.
I mean, no issues.
No.
Okay.
No,
That's good.
no, it was fine.
Okay, we'll make sure it's so everybody's happy. Happy neighbors, happy life.
And we try to drive it in, we try to drive it in the plan where the water's sheeting
Yeah.
away from theirs,
All right,
as
so,
best we could with the drawing.
Okay, so I'd recommend amend the enforcement order based on our discussion, taking out some of the things we don't need anymore and adding and allowing for seating, allowing for a snow fence out of the 25 in the interim, and then just file NOI when they can. Not
moved.
with no deadline, but just, okay.
and the fine of $1,000 a day is still in effect, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's still ticking.
It's not a sweat.
I just want to see if you're paying attention.
All right, so we have a motion on that from Tony.
Yeah, so moved except for what Lou said.
Yeah, right.
For the record.
Yeah, right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Thank
Right,
you.
okay.
Thank you.
Take care of this.
Thank you for your time.
coming in. Appreciate it.
Okay, hunting season.
Yeah, hunting dates are October 3rd through November 26th, FYI. And we'll continue to issue permits for Half Mile Hill for both
And,
hunting.
Archery is archery only.
Yes,
No firearms.
right,
I
that's right.
think the only exception that we make is on the Mazarenko property. I don't know if you issue permits for Mazarenko or not. That's one of our properties.
I don't issue for anything except Half Mile Hill.
Okay.
I don't, there's nothing in the files that show that we've ever done
For
Mazarenko.
permitting on Mazarenko? We don't have any? I think.
I mean,
we should.
I've read and reread the report and
Yeah.
the rules and regs, and
Couple years back.
it only, permitting only speaks to Half Mile Hill, so.
Well,
But I mean,
Yeah,
but it-
refresh my memory. We allow hunting everywhere,
yeah,
but
period. And on Half Mile Hill, we only put the regulations to make it a little more restrictive just there.
Well, Half Mile Hill is the most restricted one because we have the highest population of people.
right,
And a school.
Yeah.
Right.
But the Mazarenko property, which was purchased back in 1990, approximately 1990, maybe you could, yeah, you could use the conference room out there, that would be great.
thank you.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks.
The
Thank you.
the Mazarenko property, which was probably one of the first ones that was bought by the town and put under the control of the commission, hunting was the very first, that was the very first property we had to tackle hunting on. And because it's close to, I want to say 90 acres of land or something like that, the residences are so sparse out there that we allow firearms during the firearm season.
Yeah,
But we haven't had, you haven't been signing applicants out there?
not for Mazarenko.
Okay.
We haven't been doing, exactly, we simply allow it.
Right.
Under
We
state
don't-
regulation,
That's right.
under state regulation.
That's right.
Half Mile Hill became a bone of contention
We
because of
limit-
the development, and we really felt as though we needed to do something
Gotcha.
there to make it a little more
We
restrictive.
limit Half Mile
Which
to
was the permits.
That makes sense.
two hunters per week, huh? Oh, you're up to 3? Okay.
So
3 any given week.
Yeah, but anywhere else, it's fair game. Just-
Yeah.
I have one question. Are we allowed to allocate money for staff to obtain high-vis vests or something? No, seriously.
That's a valid concern.
You know, they're not that expensive. If Amy
Oh,
and
sure.
and Taylor don't have them, they're definitely worth wearing in the woods during hunting season.
That's
So-
right. We talked about
So
that
this
last
is
time.
an easy crime to solve. We have filing fees,
Yeah,
so
We
I
got-
would
we
move
got
that
a
we
budget.
appropriate $100 to purchase orange or fluorescent outer garments for staff for use in field. That's a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Can't you just put spray paint on your body or something?
Yeah, that's
Little orange?
orange hair.
No, we have
tease
surveyors
it
that
up.
run into hunters
Part of my
while
mo-
walking through the woods,
Yeah.
and they've been yelled at for not wearing high vis
Okay.
because it's hunting season.
Yeah, I've seen
That's
tons
crazy,
of
you're right.
stands,
Yeah.
No, this-
you know, and it's like you don't see they're there, but.
Well,
Yeah, no,
remember now, during
Yeah,
archery
orange.
season, hunters are not required to wear orange.
Right.
Only during shotgun season are they required to wear orange. They are allowed to be 100% camoed during archery season. Hunter,
You won't
hunter,
even notice.
Yeah, but staff, we want.
no,
Yes.
I understand, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if you encounter, if and when you encounter hunters in the field,
Okay.
during archery season, they are not required, absolutely not. But during firearms, they are required to have 500 square inches of orange and 500 square inches plus a hat,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay.
Make sure you get one with Jamie, because
She likes to,
she meets people at the counter that require
That's right.
safety vests.
Jamie might want to wear orange around town buildings.
Yes,
But if you guys are bow hunting while working, you don't have to wear.
I just want to make sure everybody understands that.
together.
Got to understand the rules before you go afield, you know?
good to know. All right,
All right.
cool. Good. All right.
So we got a motion to accept the hunting dates?
Yes.
yes.
So, yeah, you have a motion and a second.
All right, all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is Uslo Field Mowing.
Yeah, so. now-
Was that the cross-country trail? Is that what we were
Well,
talking?
no, it's actually more holistic mowing for the whole field.
Okay.
So, we have an abutter, Doug Howe, and he shares the longest property line, to the left. Before we owned it, he engaged, a contractor to mow it, and I'm sure it was, aesthetically driven, so the mowing regime was probably 3 times a year, or at least twice, and so, he's kind of pushing to ask the commission to allow for that to continue. And I said, well, we can't really let anyone do that without a license and certificate of liability and all that, so,
Yeah.
and
Who-
in
who-
consult.
Who owns it? Who owns the
We
Uslo?
do.
We do, so it's town property?
It's town property now,
Okay,
so
all right.
that's why,
So we could, you're talking about open field mowing like we do around town?
Yeah.
To keep fields open, to keep the woody
Yeah,
vegetation down?
right.
That's what we're
So,
talking about?
once a year, like Half Mile Hill.
Once a year?
Yeah, yeah.
Seasonally driven though.
Seasonally driven,
Yeah,
yes.
after nesting.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and that's, I
So the
consulted
machine-
with Audubon too, and that's what their recommendation
The
is.
type of machine that I recommend that we restrict them to use is the exact same machine that Tom Sawyer used to make that cross-country trail. The tractor with the flat mowing deck behind it,
Okay,
the rotary cutter, like a John Deere 709.
okay, and that's why,
Because that doesn't create a lot of debris in its trail. It mows and it mulches in place. It does a nice clean job, and it keeps the plants at about 6 inches. It doesn't scalp the ground. It's a good,
Okay.
it's a good conservation
so
mower.
is that different from what Josh does, Josh Nutter does?
Josh has one of those, but Josh is making hay.
Okay,
And
so that's a different.
it's a whole different machine. When you're
All right.
making hay,
I
the
gotcha.
mowing machine to make hay is gonna cut much closer. And
It's not gonna mulch.
It's not gonna mulch, it doesn't,
I
it
get
flips the
it.
hay up into rows.
I get it, okay.
This machine, because this is gonna be a one-step job.
Yes.
He's gonna hire somebody that's gonna have a tractor and a rotary cutter attached behind it, a 3-point hitch rotary cutter. And it's the exact same thing that they used on the cross-country trail, like this, best way I can describe it. I could send you a picture of one
Yeah,
if you
okay.
wanted a picture, but the reason that machine is so good is it'll maintain the plant height. It won't, you could even go over small rock outcrops and it won't hit them. And it's good that way.
Okay.
A hay mower will get destroyed in a field like that.
Okay,
So as land stewards, such as we are, we have managed fields for hay.
yep,
We issue licenses to do that.
yep,
We have the vast majority of our open space we do absolutely nothing to.
right.
Just let it go fallow and promote hiking and passive recreation. This is different. This is an aesthetic need, right?
Well, it's more than just aesthetic. We're trying to prevent the woody vegetation from taking over.
Okay, but I hear all of that. So who is gonna mow it? This is a neighbor out of the goodness of his heart. We're talking about giving him permission to do that on our property.
Or
Is that what we're asking?
or his contractor to enter into a license and have certificate of liability.
That he's paying for, that,
Well,
And
that's,
the
Seems to
benefit
be
to us
what-
is we do
I
get to maintain.
guess, I mean,
Yeah.
so that's the,
but I
que-
just kind of want to broach this subject, and I'll get into the details with,
we have to,
Mr.
we have to
Howell, but I
create a
'Cause this
specification
is a
sheet.
hyper, this is something we've
I
never done
know,
before.
I know that.
We've never done this.
Yeah,
I know.
but can I offer
Because
this?
they're not.
This is something I do every
They're not
day.
extracting
all
anything
summer.
from the land.
Um,
It's you're right, Joe, in terms of being, it's an aesthetic thing, because they're not haying it. They're not
Right.
taking any product off the land, so, you know,
It's,
it's not
it's,
like
it's
they're.
to, it's to retain the field in an open space
open
condition.
space condition,
That's the idea
right.
behind it entirely. It's, we condition it all the time. We've
Right,
conditioned
yep.
properties all the
Yep.
time where we allow once a year mowing for purposes of keeping the field open.
Open,
All right, so the way I see
Got it.
this
yep,
is more similar to a friend of North Andover Trails, coming in and doing work for trail enhancements and trail improvements on our property. We let it happen. This is similar to that a
Right.
neighbor, a group, one person, is coming in on our property to enhance our habitat, by keeping the woody vegetation down and enhance meadow habitat, correct? So as long as we've got it with fitting in the framework of why it's happening.
Yes.
Happening, not just because this guy wants to have a pretty side yard. I wanna make sure it fits
No.
our framework, so we can hold the heads high on this.
that's right. And, you know, it may be that the once a year mowing is not acceptable to him, because he wants it a certain way, but that's just the way it is, that's how we're gonna do it.
Well,
So, and then, so
We-
maybe we have to go search for someone else.
thing I would
But much
suggest-
like a pre-construction review, we want to identify who the person is that's going to be doing the
Oh,
work.
absolutely.
And what type of machinery is going to be used.
And, you know, insurance
And
end
that'll
of it,
be in the license.
as long as he has this.
Yeah, well, I'm not
Go
gonna
with the
just,
license, as long as he has
Yeah,
a
we're not-
certificate of insurance,
well,
if
we
this
we
guy-
need
if
some
this-
sort of
if
something.
Mr. Howell's
No, no,
gonna.
town
is
council,
willing to-
town council requires a license. Yeah, that's not us.
Isn't it? Yes,
Yeah,
it
there's a
is.
license required to do
And
this.
an insurance binder is part of the license.
Yeah, so, all right, so let me work on that, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
broach that with you guys, okay? Thank
Okay.
you for the feedback.
No, that's important. That's an important one.
Yeah, thanks.
Next one is approval of the conservation calendar.
All right.
Oh, my.
So I gave you just the calendar with the highlighted,
I'm gonna be
dates.
away August 23rd.
Way to work, Joe.
You already know that?
I already know that.
I thought you were kidding.
Joe's an,
Oh, no, I have next year's cruise is already booked.
he's an extreme planner.
Yeah, fair.
Joe just invited me, I'll also be able, no.
And you're not gonna do it remotely.
I'm getting my hair done March 22nd.
That won't take long.
That won't take long.
We'll get you a can of Staples bowling alley wax.
So I gave some wiggle room in July for summer vacations.
Well, we told you, same as last year, when you wanna go on vacation, that's when we'll pick it. So if you want July, fine, if you want August,
Okay.
we did August this year, right?
Yeah,
So whatever,
Okay.
whichever one you pick, we'll
Okay.
do.
They look good, huh?
I move that we accept Lou.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. We have one decision,
we have two.
Two, I know.
I gave it to you. Two.
All right, the first one is 242-1852.
7 Fuller Meadow. While you're reading it, I just want to remind everyone of our Lake Cleanup Day, which is this coming Saturday, October 1st, from 9:30 to 11. We meet at the Stevens Beach parking lot on Pleasant Street. And the DBW provides gloves and trash bags, some grabber tools, and refreshments in the form of Smolak donuts and apples, and Heavenly Donut coffee. It's a good time, and it's fun to pick up trash.
And this
And
is,
keep-
this is for
and
everybody,
keep-
even people at home can come?
Yeah,
People
everybody,
watching?
yes.
And you can come meet your
Everybody.
conservation staff there maybe, and some of your favorite commissioners here. Come on out.
So, yeah, we do this annually, and we're doing a little bit early this year to take advantage of the low water, so maybe we can get some trash where water usually is. Yeah, so we'll be able
Heavenly
to
Donut coffee.
do a good pick in there.
Good.
Oh, what's
Heavenly,
not bad?
everybody loves Heavenly Donuts. It's
Yeah,
just
I-
good.
You're not
Well, they're
gonna
coffee anyway, and Smolak, cider donuts.
Cider donuts, so it must be small lots.
So the green highlight on the first page is just a
Oh,
question?
yeah, no.
That's, we're striking that out, right?
Yes. I'll just count the total number of footings. I also wanted to add, with the findings, that the deck provides code-compliant access to the,
I think you did, right? Under the
did I?
waiver request? The NAC
oh, I
reviewed it?
did, I'm sorry, I
Yeah, you
didn't
already
see
did
that, you're right, okay.
Brilliantly written, too. It does it.
The only thing that I saw was 47. Possibly giving them the flexibility to, if they have a carpenter before a landscaper or
Right,
wetland scientist, to give them within the first growing season after recommencing work. So if they miss the fall planting, they can do it the following spring, but no more than that. Ideally, they would hit the fall planting season.
yeah, but,
You know, everyone's booked out.
so do you wanna say May 30th of 2023, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so
No later than,
no later than May 30th.
okay.
These are just buffer zone plans, these are not wetland
Right.
restoration
Correct.
plans, yeah.
Yep.
Anything in here about the jumping worm?
Yes,
Yeah, I saw it.
same condition 47.
Yes.
Making sure.
I wanna see one.
Me too.
Yeah, they're,
They're supposed to be like a foot long.
I wanna see them jump.
they
Yeah.
do, they
I
do.
wanna video the jump.
Okay, I bet you can probably Google that.
I wanna find out if bass will eat them. I'm on a hook.
I wanna see if a jumping worm can jump higher than a jumping bean.
Oh, there we go, we got a contest for the next,
We're gonna get some jumping beans, some jumping worms. We're gonna have,
Contest.
I'm calling the
we're
SPSCA.
gonna have a showdown.
Yeah.
An invasive species race.
Invasive, an invasive jump off. The bean versus the worm.
Plant-based versus protein.
It's gonna be awesome.
See which one jumps more?
This has evolved quickly.
Hasn't it?
Listen, hey, Ryan, you gotta be fast.
I'm working on it, I've had a long day.
You snooze, you lose here, kid. You gotta be quick.
Any questions on this?
So-
We should copyright this before somebody puts
That's
this on like
Yeah, really.
some crazy extreme television channel.
I'm still abstaining.
That's great.
Yep.
So any questions on this decision?
No bond?
2,000.
Grand?
2000.
The 2,000?
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys ready for a motion?
Yes.
I move that we approve as drafted.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's
And
unanimous.
for the record, that was 242-1852.
With one abstention.
And one abstention. Next one is 100 Raleigh Tavern Lane, 242-1854.
Need the same citation on the waiver there in alternatives analysis? That, it's missing from this one, I think.
Waiver request findings?
Didn't we have a waiver for the infiltrators?
Yeah, it's on the next page.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question.
Yeah.
The last one, we required 12-inch mulch saw. This one, we're asking for 8. Is it that much flatter?
Well, they're doing, the plan calls for silt fence, so I want them to add.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. No, that's,
I mean, you know,
yeah, no, I just,
and it's kind of a long stretch, so.
just from,
Maybe put that in there, if you're just gonna touch it, in addition to the.
Oh, yeah,
silt
oh,
fence.
no, yeah,
oh, and in French silt place, yep. No,
Yep.
yeah.
it's,
I did want my numbers too, right? Let me see.
Would we accept the 12-inch in place of an 8-inch in a silt fence?
I guess we could,
So that would be an or equivalent?
yeah,
Right. I'm just thinking of the property
I
owner.
know, it's sort of,
It's probably cheaper to
Dual.
do just a 12-inch then.
It's also a pain to dig a trench to put a silt fence in.
Yes,
That's true.
no one does silt fence anymore.
It's also hard to move a 12-inch lock.
That's true. When it's
I know, right, I know, it's sort of,
It's a
so
hell of a lot
whatever,
heavier than an 8.
yeah, so whatever you think.
No, so-
Amy, on 54, was there a dewatering done on that plan?
No.
And should, you think? I didn't look at
So it's a he said it's 2 feet deep, 2 foot diameter,
The dry
2
wells?
feet deep,
Yeah,
so
Yeah, they're pretty
I
small.
don't think we'll,
they're perforated.
I hope.
So what's your question, Louis? Be hand dug or
Dewatering?
machine dug?
Well, as you're gonna have to
What's that?
de-water to install
Kind of defeats the purpose of it. Dry well, if it's in
them.
the
Right, I was
water.
gonna say,
That's what I
yeah, I
meant.
know, I just wanted to make sure,
I assume it's gonna
But-
be water.
I don't know what
yes.
else was going on there.
dry wells are 2
we missed
foot
something on the
diameter.
application.
Yeah, but dry wells in
2 feet
2
deep.
feet of water.
All right, so I could, I mean, probably just eliminate that one.
Right, any questions,
Altogether?
any questions on this decision?
What are we talking about on this double lead of maple? Was there some thought they were going to cut that down, or?
Well, it's rotted,
Yeah, so,
and 1 liter is leaning into the yard.
so what you wanna do is you're giving them permission to do that so long as the order conditions is in place
Yes,
and they hoist it out.
yes,
Anything after that,
Right.
they separate filing.
That seems fair.
I move that we grant the order of conditions for 242-1854, 100 Raleigh Tavern, as drafted and slightly amended.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
Did you see the EPA for their